Soldiers are incredibly cheap. The cost of killing soldiers is often a lot more expensive than the cost of recruiting soldiers. Therefore, you should always be recruiting soldiers even if you're zeroed militarily. Now, you can just recruit them every time you're available, but there is a slightly better way of going about it. The longer you wait with recruiting soldiers and the closer you are to day change or military reset for the next buy, the less time there is to kill your soldiers, meaning you'll get a bigger bunch of soldiers at once. The absolute best way of recruiting soldiers is waiting for day change and buying them just before, or well, military reset and buying them just before and just after, which gives you 2 full soldier buys, which is often like half or 2/3 your maximum soldiers, depending on your info levels. What a lot of people will do after buying soldiers, they will use them to attack nations that they aren't missiling or turreting, so to speak, not nuking or missiling, and they will use those soldiers to kill some tanks, and what it does, they think, is kill some steel, and it's more costly than the soldiers, so it's actually a good trade to do that. Which is true. Except it's also terrible, usually, and I'm going to explain to you why now. If you're attacking with only soldiers, you will almost always get an utter failure. Now here's the thing with utter failures that some people actually don't know, but it's important to know. And that is that it doesn't use consumption of the enemy. So gasoline and munitions don't get used by the enemy if the attack against you in that area is an utter failure. Actually, it uses a little bit. It only uses it for the units that have been killed, which is not a lot. The majority of your army that has defended that hit will not have used gasoline or munitions. So what you're doing by sacrificing your soldiers on the offense is that you're using some steel, yes, but you're not using any of their gasoline or munitions. There's only one time where I would actually suicide soldiers, and that is if you are at maximum soldiers and you have a rebuy left, or part of a rebuy left. You want to utilize your soldier rebuys as much as possible, so if you're at maximum, you can actually do a decent amount of tank damage, and it actually works out quite well in that case, because you won't be losing your soldiers, because they'll just be replaced. So what's the best way of actually using them then? Well, it's very simple. Just having them. You don't want to use them. You just want to have them in your army, and what that does is it gives the enemy 3 options. They can either ignore your soldiers by just naval battling one ship navals or something. They can either airstrike your soldiers, or they can ground battle your soldiers. The problem with airstriking soldiers is that it's extremely expensive in terms of gasoline and munitions. The problem with ground battling soldiers is that it loses them tanks. It actually uses the full gasoline and munitions from there. Ground battle, which is less than airstriking, but it also loses them tanks. And the problem with ignoring the soldiers is that you're slowly building up soldiers to be able to suicide them when you reach maximum amount. All 3 of these options suck, and that's why soldiers are strong. Thanks for watching.